Hey friends, it's Eric Hulkran. Welcome to another episode of Support Local, a podcast brought to you by the MEDC and Pure Michigan, designed to dig deeper into how we can all support our small businesses in Pure Michigan as we go through the COVID-19 pandemic. In this episode, we are talking to three of my favorite humans. Chef Jenna from Amore in West Michigan, John Gonzalez, you might know him as Gonzo from Michigan's Best and MLive, and one of my favorite humans on planet Earth, the VP for Travel Michigan and the MEDC, Dave Lorenz, will be our host today. I hope you love this podcast. And our guests on this podcast from Amore, Chef Jenna joins us. Chef, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Excellent. And from Michigan's Best and MLive, Gonzo, how are you, my friend?
Pretty fantastic considering everything going on.
Absolutely. And our host for this podcast, Dave Lorenz. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Good to be with you, Eric. Thanks for inviting us to be together. I tell you what, we have a really great opportunity today to talk about a very special need, and that is a need to support local, more so than we've ever done. And I think over the years, there's been a kind of a push to think more about, locally sourced foods at restaurants and supporting local businesses. But right now, during COVID, we have this incredibly important need to be intentional more than ever to support our local businesses. So we're going to chat about that a little bit today, and really great to have a real chef to talk to us about this. And I know, John Gonzo, you certainly know how to make food as well. I only know how to eat it, but we're going to be able to chat about this a little bit. So let's get started. Jen, tell us a little bit about you and your restaurant.
Okay, so my name is Chef Jenna. Most people just call me Jenna. My last name is Archidiacono. It's a very long Italian name, but everyone butchers it, so Jenna is fine. I own a restaurant called Amore on Alpine at 6 Mile, and it's been open 10 years. We had an anniversary during COVID, which I always say restaurant years are like dog years. So I feel like we've owned a restaurant for 70 years, especially this year. But what you're saying about supporting local is so important right now. I actually saw a post someone put up that said, remember when you asked your local businesses for donations, gift cards? Now it's time to give back. Yeah. And that really hit me hard because I love to give back to the community. It's probably my favorite thing to do. But now is the time to give back to all of the local restaurants because we have been hit the hardest of every single business. We have had so many open, close, to go, and then being expected to buy heaters and tents and, with no money because it hasn't come in this year. So,
if you can, crazy tough. I know it's been crazy difficult. You'll be surprised. Earlier today, I talked to a reporter for a story, and the reporter asked me, well, does it really make a difference? They said, does it really make a difference? I mean, how do you explain if it really makes a difference that you buy something locally rather than just ordering it online, or if you go to a restaurant versus just making everything on your own? And
every dollar
sort of shocked
right
by
now.
that. Yeah.
Every single dollar that you spend locally is helping a local family. I mean, honestly, I'm a local family, but I have 30 employees. So if you support us, you're supporting like 150 people with the families, the kids, and everyone else involved. And so, yes, it is important. It's hard to deny that once you think about it that way.
I know, Gonzo, you've been all throughout the state like me, and you've gotten to know so many restaurateurs like Chef Jenna, and you know the impact that restaurants and retailers have on local communities. Can you imagine what it will be like this coming spring and summer if we lose, even one of them to our downtown? It's a daunting thought.
Yeah, I think, and thanks again for having us on, Dave. Here, I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around 2020. Right, I think all of us started the year just with so much excitement. Business was booming, restaurants were doing well, bars, breweries. tourism statewide. We had high hopes for 2020. This virus hits, right? And I think a lot of us didn't know. I think most of us didn't know exactly what we were dealing with. Heck, even today, we're still trying to figure out what's going to happen with the vaccine, right? But for restaurant owners, Amy and I, through the Michigan's Best and M Live, we are at restaurants all the time, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And then on our own, going and visiting restaurants as well. And what we started to see in March, I went back and played some podcasts I did earlier in the COVID in March, what restaurants are dealing with. And going back and listening to those interviews, it just blows you away. I remember one restaurant owner saying, we're hoping that we can get everything back normal about May 1st, right? So we didn't really.
Of what year?
Right. Right. But knowing what we know now, it's the local restaurant owner throughout the state of Michigan. Chef Jenna does an incredible job there at Amore on Alpine Avenue in Comstock Park. But she is one of thousands of restaurant owners, independent small businesses that are providing for their communities and for their employees. We can't grasp it. I was talking to another restaurant owner today, and I said, do you think the average person grasp of how each dollar is so important? And they don't. He said, they just want to know, when are you going to open up, right? Without even thinking. And why aren't you going to open? Or defy the order. Don't defy the order. All this stuff that's out there, we failed to just step back and say, these are real lives, right? Chef Jenna's got all these employees that rely on her. The pressure for independent owners like Chef Jenna, I cannot even imagine what that's like to go to bed every single night, knowing that the pressure is on you to meet everyone's needs.
Yeah, to that point about being real lives, I've run some businesses in the past, and I think most people who have never managed or owned a business probably don't appreciate the fact that most business owners and managers truly care about their employees. It's not just about making money, but Chef Jenna, in a business like a restaurant, I mean, you need to do the business too. And the margin is so slim. I mean, you think about how much it costs you to do your business. The margin, the money you can make is so slim on the best of days.
It's really, honestly, it's so minimal already owning a restaurant. And so imagine how minimal that has become in comparison. People don't realize that we have to pay for the food that comes through our doors, the staff, the lights, the rent, the liquor licenses, every single thing. And at the end of the day, there's not much left. And let's be honest, COVID has diminished it to zero. So, if we continue to stay shut down, we will need help from the government if we want to stay open. Not just us, all of the restaurants in town.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that, through the support of Michiganders, that restaurateurs and retailers and attractions and such will be able to make it through this really difficult winter that we're going to go through. Typically at wintertime, it's my favorite time of the year. And I just think about how much I love being outside in the wintertime. But the thing that really occurred to me the other day is how much I enjoy the indoor experiences as well. And that kind of the lead of the list for me is restaurants, the restaurant experiences. It's
comfort food. You want to go out and eat comfort food.
You do, especially.
That's what you look forward to, honestly. I mean, I think you're trying to bulk up and hibernate.
I think, Dave, you hit it right there, is that all of us love going out. Chef Jenna and Amore was a great destination when you're going there for special events or just an average night out, right? You can do whatever you want, and she's there with great service. But it's that experience of going out with friends, family, a loved one, a big outing that we're all missing in 2020. Where it's going, I don't know, but I think for the right now, we need to support these small independent restaurant owners and their employees. I can't stress enough, it's the employees, right, Chef Jenna? I mean, you have people that are relying on you.
Yes, absolutely. And I will tell you, the community has returned support big time. Last week we had our Thanksgiving menu meals. And I don't know if you saw, but we had a line out to like half a mile away, almost picking up meals. So they are coming out to support, and so grateful. And they're tipping on takeout because they know right now, especially, it's needed. And it was snowing and raining, and these poor staff members were running food to cars so people could have an experience where they didn't have to get out of their cars or do anything, just show up and drive right out. All of these things are extra work.
Yeah, I'm even tipping when I drive through McDonald's, and I'm serious. I've never thought about doing that before, but I am. I just feel like I'm obligated to help out any way I can. So Chef Jenna, what are some of the things that you and your colleagues have done to accommodate, for the new needs? I mean, I've heard that some restaurants are like building pickup windows so people can walk right up, so things like that. Give us a little example of some of the things that the restaurateurs are doing to make it easier for us to support them.
Sure. I mean, we're lucky where we're located because we have a large parking lot. So what we did was just turn our parking lot into a drive up. And luckily, I have a parking lot, but a lot of places don't. So they have to figure out another way to make drive up easy. So the city has helped out and given them spaces in front where no one can park so they can have an easy pickup system. It's been a lot of moving, shaking, being creative, figuring out what people want. And there was a couple weeks around the election time where no one was going out at all. So it was like literal tumbleweeds everywhere. And we're lucky we have a Michigan Promise restaurant group on Facebook. That's a group of about 15 restaurant owners. And we just brainstorm together on there or just talk about what we're going through in the moment. And it's so great. It lifts us up to know that these other people are going through what we're going through. And we just trying to work out ideas and plans to keep going and kind of encourage each other, which is actually the best thing that's happened during this COVID is this group of restaurant owners who are allowed to just chat and figure things out together.
Well, there will be some good things that come out of this, and that's a good example. But right now, we just need to do all we can to support restaurants like yours. Gonzo, have you seen some other kind of innovative ways that restaurants are being, intentionally trying to make it easier for us to support them?
Well, Jenna mentioned it a few seconds ago. There is a group of restaurant owners around the state of Michigan that have gathered together to make a promise to their customers and to their employees to keep safe and put them first before everything else. And it's an impressive list. If you look, these are hundreds of restaurants around the state, from every part of the state, from the Upper Peninsula to Southeast Michigan, that have pledged to look out for their community, for their customers, and for their employees. It shows that the restaurant industry wants to do the right thing. They want to remain open. They want to serve their communities. They want to take care of their employees. We have seen throughout the state, especially in the Michigan's Best world, where they are saying, okay, we don't have a takeout system. we need to develop one. We don't have online orders. Mm-hmm. We need to develop one. We need new packaging now. We can't just put the food in a sack, right, and hope it stays warm. You can imagine all of your business that you do as a worker right now, and you go through your process. You've had to reinvent your process. The industry has to do the same thing, and they have done the same thing. We need to give them a little more credit, and I hope we can find a way to help them. They've lost that federal aid that they had earlier in the year. They got them through, I think, the first shutdown, and now they're scrambling. I fear, and I don't know about you, Dave, you mentioned winter months coming up and a great indoor experience, but I fear what the winter is going to do to some of these restaurants.
Yeah, me too. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation, our parent organization, has come up with several relief programs, but it's just a little bit of here, a little bit there. The latest, the Pure Michigan Relief Program, is providing $10 million. But of course, when you look at the need, the number of businesses that will apply for these $15,000 grants, it's just something to get you through another week, another couple of weeks. But we need to do all we can. And that's the thing, You both mentioned the promise. We rolled out what we call the Pure Michigan Pledge, similar program where we're encouraging people to do all the things they need to do to keep everybody safe so you can travel safely. Because the fact is, you can go to restaurants and order for them and pick food up, and you can go to retailers, and even with restrictions and capacity limits and all this, if you're doing it safely, you can then support these businesses. We all know these rules now, wearing masks when indoors, or even outdoors in crowded spaces, keeping your hands clean, bringing that sanitizer with you everywhere, and distancing whenever possible, and staying home when you're sick. That's about it. But this Pure Michigan Pledge allows us to say, I pledge to do these things so that I can support you. So I'm hoping people will do that. And another thing that my wife and I have done, we've made a pledge, and I encourage everybody to do this if you can. And that is that we're adding an additional restaurant order a week. Now, we go to restaurants and order out a lot. We're empty nesters, so we eat out a lot. But we are intentionally now kind of adding an additional purchase in this way. Can you imagine what could happen if 10 million people in this state, if a good number of them did that? We would be able to support our restaurants and our retailers to the degree that at least would get them through the cold weather months. So I'm hoping that happens.
Yeah, I am as well. And I think you said the key thing, if you can, if it's in your budget, because, of those 10 million people, a lot of them are already in the service industry and they're hurting right now. So, for those of you that can and are able, I think it's a great thing. The website, by the way, Dave, is I just had it here a second ago. The website is mirestaurantpromise.com. And that's a great place to go. And you'll see what they have done as an industry to band together. You asked about what everyone else is doing around the state, and everyone is in a little different situation, right? Every restaurant is not the same. And I think we as consumers need to realize that, and might say, well, why did this restaurant decide not to do carry out? Why is this restaurant doing that? And we kind of like lose sight that not everyone, some restaurants already own their building and can afford, they don't have to pay rent, where others do have a rent, so every person's a little different situation. And Chef Jenna is a great example of how to get through that. I was talking to Chris Andrus earlier today from Minton Brewing Company in Grand Rapids. He said a little bit of this needs to go on the shoulders, and I hate to say this, don't mean to offend restaurant owners, but on the restaurant industry themselves, to reinvent themselves a little bit. Chef, how do you react to that? What do you think about that?
He's so right. I mean, you can't just sit back and expect people to support you without having a little bit of hustle in you to make sure that you are providing a service that is worth their while. So providing items that they want to have, and providing a quick service and a way to get in and out quickly, because that's also important for people. And if you don't put that on yourself to make your business better and more quality, then no one's going to support that. So he's right when he says it's on us. It's a lot of pressure, but we can do it. We just have to be innovative and creative.
Well,
I thought the other interesting thing, Dave, real quick,
yeah, go ahead,
that you'll find interesting is that Chris said that he's noticing the online orders are coming from a younger demographic. And that's changed a little bit as well.
Well, I never thought I would use Grubhub and Uber delivery for food. I always thought, my gosh, I'll never do that. Well, here I am. I'm doing it. And so the interesting thing is, it saves me that bit of time and the drive. And so I'm happy to pay a couple of bucks more for that and to tip that guy as well. I really am. And because I know it's making a difference in some little way, I'm happy to do it. You talked about the need for restaurants to kind of change the way they do business. They're doing their best, but I think most people don't understand restaurant business is one of the most precarious businesses you can be in. Most restaurants don't make it, even though they might be a great restaurant, great food. It's just such a difficult business. So during this time, it just made that much more challenging, which is why we need to do all we can to support them.
I feel like we're going to lose 50% of businesses if this continues. And think about how sad that is. A lot of people have put their life savings into their businesses. And now, after 1 year of craziness, they have nothing left. And it's sad to think that may happen to people that we know locally. So it's a lot. It still goes back to every penny counts, spending it locally. You may not believe it, but it is so true.
Well, we've put together some information on Michigan.org as well that might be very beneficial. And Gonzo, I'll ask you to repeat that the restaurant website as well in a moment. But the Michigan.org website is michigan.org/support local. And what you'll find there is information about restaurants that are providing curbside service and such. And that's a great little tool there. And then you'll find information about retailers who are making adjustments and such. And then there are some featured communities that we provide information for. I encourage you to look into that. And I think that there's also some information about the size and the scope of this challenge. You may not realize this. Look at retail alone. Retail in Michigan accounts for 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs in a state with 10 million people. Think about that, like 1 in every 5 jobs or something like that are in retail. Restaurateurs account for hundreds of thousands of jobs in this state. The hospitality sector has been just so incredibly challenged through this. You think about those attractions and those hotels that you love to visit around the state every year. Many of them are in big time trouble right now. So as we come up to the holidays here, as we're in the holidays, if you're looking for a gift giving opportunity, being able to purchase like gift cards from restaurants, that might make the difference. And maybe by doing that, giving that restaurant a little bit of cash flow to keep them going for a while, because maybe you won't actually turn that card in until next year or maybe next spring, whatever it might be. Gives them that cash flow to keep on going right now.
And Dave, I want to add one more thing to your pledge, your plea to listeners out there and those that are viewing this, is that in my interview with Chris Andrus earlier today, he was saying that gift cards are great. He loves the idea of people buying gift cards, but he also said, hey, really think of, rather than just saying support local and dine local, really put some thought into it. Maybe a mug club membership at a local brewery really sustains them better and gets you ready for the rest of the year. Maybe there's a way of, like you said, upping your, maybe one more time a week that you go to get takeout or carry out. And once the restaurants do open, support them and make those reservations and take your family out to dinner that you might have missed for Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? And we have Christmas in July, or June and May. I mean, I would have it every single day if I could. But so we need to think a little bit longer term rather than going like, well, it'll be here tomorrow, because it might not.
The restaurateurs in our state have done so many things for us, in addition to filling our bellies. I mean, that's what I so miss, being able to truly be inside. And I know we can't do that right now, but if we do our part, if we take that Pure Michigan pledge, and if we support our restaurants and our retailers and our home communities right now, before you know it, we'll be able to get back to the lives that we all want to lead. So please consider this. That website again is michigan.org/support local. I think you'll find some great information there. And I'm really hoping you get there. Please also consider that Pure Michigan pledge. Let's all be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Great to talk to you guys. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having us.
And there they go. A big thanks, of course, to Chef Jenna from Amore, Gonzo from MLive and Michigan's Best, and our host for today, Dave Lorenz. As Dave said, if you want to get more information on how you can help out, just head to michigan.org/support local. Till next time, cheers.